Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the Islamic Center, Boston, Wayland. We are about to start our third Ramadan reminder program, and today with us is Imam Talal Eid. Imam Talal Eid needs no introduction. He was here for our first reminder as well. With that, I want to welcome Imam Talal Eid. And Imam Talal Eid, we have you till 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Thank you.
أحمده وأصلي على رسوله الكريم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. I welcome you all. This is the 17th day of the month of Ramadan, and I pray that we all are enjoying the fast and having family getting together every night with the children. This is great blessings from Allah. Now, when we talk about Islam, it is true that Islam started in Arabia, and mostly the people who accepted Islam are Arabs. But it's also true that Islam is not just Arabs, it is multiple nationalities. So if you remember, just recently after receiving the Quran, you have Bilal, who accepted Islam, and we call him Bilal the Ethiopian, Al-Habashi. So, and then we started to hear about Suhaib, and Suhaib, it's a Rumi, it's from Rome area. And then soon joined by a figure that I need to talk about today, that is Salman al-Farisi. So from the name al-Farisi, it means he's from Persia. And Salman has an interesting story. So he was known as the searcher of truth, al-bahis an al-haqiqa, that Salman experienced a kind of life, luxurious life. So it's not like, oh, he was poor and then he see in Islam something, but he had a luxurious life, and he lived in a castle, and his father was the custodian of the fire in Persia. It's a very highly job, and the person who is given such honor usually is a rich person. So Salman was the son of that person who was in charge of keeping the fire on, nothing else. His job, the Persians, they used to worship fire. So the fire need to be lit 24 hours. So there is someone in charge who assign people and keep them sitting nearby to feed the fire. But luckily for Salman, one day his father, he wants to train him to take over his position. So he gave him the job of watching and feeding the fire, keep it lit. So Salman, he was at that time a kind of young, between teenagers and young. So he sat down and he started to watch the fire and how the fire would go down, and then he would put wood and then go up. And then he started to think. He said to himself, how can this fire be a creator, a God, when I am the one who is feeding her? And if I stop feeding the fire ceases to exist. It will be extinguished. Thus, Salman decided, and he said to himself, I have to search for the truth. Abu Huraira, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, Salman is the man of the two sacred scriptures, sacred books. It means he followed a faith in the beginning and ended with Islam. So Salman said, I need to find the truth. So he gave up his country. He started to ask, and they said to him, well, go to the land of Sham. The land of Sham, someone suggested that there is a learned scholar. He's a monk. Stay with him and learn from him. You may be able to find the truth. So when we say land of Sham at that time, it means it was like Syria, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon. These were called the land of Sham. So Salman traveled, went a long distance from Persia to the land of Sham, and he ended up in the company of a monk, a very learned monk. And he started to learn from him. The monk was a Christian. So he started to learn about Christianity. But after a period of time, the monk was dying. So the monk said to him, I want you to go and get in touch with another learned scholar and learn from him. So he left and he traveled again, and he ended up in the company of that scholar. Now, if you remember when Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam was 8 years old, and he traveled with his uncle Abu Talib, he accompanied his caravan. He wasn't a prophet, he was 8 years old. So he accompanied his caravan, and the caravan went to the land of Sham. And there was a monk who happened to notice that a cloud was walking alongside this child, like to protect him. And he started to think about it, and he knew from the knowledge that he learned that there will be a prophet who will come in Arabia, who will appear in Arabia. And he was his curiosity led him to ask his uncle. He said, "Who is that child?" He said, "Oh, this is my son." He said, I don't think he's your son, because what we know, that there will be a boy who will be born, who was born in Arabia, and he will be a prophet, and we have some description about him, but we have been told that he will be born as an orphan. So Abu Talib said, "You are right. He is my nephew." So the monk said to him, "Take good care of him. This boy will have a important position when in life later on." So this kind of information were available in the land of Sham, and to that monk who accept to receive Salman and teach him more. But he told him that, "Look, if you want to know more about the truth, I want you to travel to Arabia. There is a prophet whom we learned that he just migrated to Medina, from Mecca to Medina, and he lives in Medina." He said, "How do I know where in Medina?" He said, "You go there, and there are 3 signs. You need to investigate them. If these signs were true, then this is the person who will lead you to the truth." So he says, the first sign, that this man do not accept charity, but he accept gifts. So these are 2 signs. And he said the third sign, that this man has the seal of prophethood, and it is between his shoulders. And the monk said to him, "I advise you, Salman, go and meet this man and learn about the truth that you are looking for." So Salman decided to leave the land of Sham and travel to Arabia, but how? He has no money. So he made a deal with a caravan owner. The deal was, "Take me with you. I don't have money. Once we reach there, you sell me as a slave, and you take the money." So the price for the truth was his freedom, slavery. And that's what happened when Salman arrived to Medina. So the caravan owner sold him to a Jewish person, and he took the money. And Salman lived there in Medina, and he started to search for Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He started to ask here and there. He said, "Yeah, there is a person came from Mecca. He usually meet at this particular place." It was his masjid, Masjid al-Nabawi. And so Salman started to go there, and he would see the Prophet like reciting the Quran to the people, and his Sahaba companions around him, surrounding him, and praying with him, and listening to his knowledge and learning about the Quran. So one day he decided to make the contact. So while the Prophet was sitting, he came to him, and he says, "I want to give you these couple of dates. And so the Prophet said, what kind of giving you are giving? He said, this is charity. So the Prophet took the dates, did not eat from them, and he gave them to his companions to eat. So the first sign was done. Next, another day he came with dates. He said, these are dates for you, gift. So the Prophet took them, he ate one of them, and he gave the rest to the companions. So these are two signs. Now the third sign is the seal of prophethood. It is a mark between the shoulders, and usually it is covered. Usually the Prophet would cover his shoulder, so there is no way to see it. There must be another way. He will try to see the seal of prophethood. So one day the Prophet was doing washing for a person who died. He was doing the washing. So usually they remove some of the clothes, the outfit. So he came from around him, from the back, and he started to look, and he kept going back and forth, back and forth. So the Prophet noticed that this man is looking for something. So he looked at him and said, Salman, you're looking for the seal of prophethood. That's the seal of prophethood. So he showed it to him, and Salman accepted Islam. Now, you can say, what is that important for a person to accept Islam? Yes, it is important, because what happened, just after a while, the Meccans decided to invade the Medina. And the Jewish tribes in Medina, they cooperated with the Meccans against the Muslims. So the Muslims were in awkward situation. And let me tell you what the Quran says, what Allah says in the Quran about this particular situation. It was called Ghazwat al-Khandaq, the battle of the ditch. If you want, you can read more about it. So Allah says, Allah described the situation of the Muslims in the Quran. And he says, بلغت القلوب الحناجر. It's like this part of a verse. It means like the heart reached the throat. Means the Muslims were totally collapsed and they were scared. Why? Because when you look at the battle of Uhud and the battle of Badr, the Muslims left Medina. They went to a separate area, neutral area, where the women and children are safe. But this time, women and the children were not safe. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam learned about a huge army coming to attack Medina. And he gathered his companions and he asked what they should do. So everybody would give opinion. That's Salman now. Let's see what Salman says. Salman says, I have an idea. Dig a trench around the city, choosing the weak areas where really Muslim soldiers cannot defend much. And in this way, you will slow their movement. They will take time to go into the ditch and then reach to the ground and then fight you. You can get them quick. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he he said, okay, that's a good idea. That's the where Salman comes here. He played a successful role in building the Muslims' life, and a huge trench was dug in certain areas around Medina, and the Meccans came and they camped when they saw the big ditch. They cannot, it's a very tough. So they camped there and they surrounded the city, and they waited for almost a month, waiting for an opportunity to attack. And they would not be, they were unable. And until a strong wind came and destroyed their tents. And Abu Sufyan says, Allah is not on our side. Let's go back to Medina, to Mecca. So they failed. And after that, if you trace the life of Salman, he after accepting Islam, he narrated a good number of ahadith from the Prophet, and he accompanied him and learned from him many things about the religion. And after that, during Salman lived during the time of Abu Bakr and during the time of Umar, both caliphs, and he died during the time of Uthman. And until today, his grave is well known for Muslims. So I pray that you enjoyed your time, and I'm so happy to join you, and inshallah you enjoy your iftar here, and I am grateful, and do the same also. I'm grateful for all the volunteers who took the time to receive you and prepare the food and do many things to make your stay successful. So I pray for them. May Allah reward them. And the way that is needed from you is your contribution to this Islamic Center. Those who already contributed, Jazakumullahu khair. And those who did not yet, you know that in your zakat, not everything goes to the needy. I know the needy at least like 2/3, but there is 1/3 goes fi sabilillah. And this 1/3, take a portion of it and give it to the Islamic Center of Boston. May Allah reward us all. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Jazakallah, Imam Talal, and thank you for those listeners who are with us virtually, as well as thank you for your attention as well. Really appreciate it. And with that, I want to bring on Tina Khan. With Tina Khan and Fatma were the leads of the iftar this year for this particular third iftar. And so I welcome Tina, and she'll have some guidance for you.